to start by watching this video from bellular called Everyone is Saying Mythic Plus is Broken. I want to know what this is about. I am a Mythic Plus player, right? I'm almost 2,500. Almost. And I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know if he's talking about like the balancing, because obviously like Port of Stars and Shadow Moon Burial Grounds are infinitely easier than like every other dungeon, whereas Azure Vault is completely like in the flip end. It's really hard, and they've had to like patch a lot of dungeons to, you know, nerf them and stuff. So we'll see what this is about. I'm pretty curious what he has to say.
Do I have to deal with this?
Garbage affixes. Yes. Some weeks are just like straight up not fun in Mythic Plus.
That is what you will see if you go to Mythic Plus, right? That's the entire vibe of affixes. I mean, I've got a quick quiz for you, right? I want you to listen to these words and raise your hand, drop a comment if they get you licking your lips in delight. Quaking, explosive, storming, sanguine, bolstering, spiteful.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's licking their lips at that. Each of them are impeccably designed to piss you off in a unique and specific way.
I don't know. I don't think many of them are that bad.
For
the worst one for me is explosive, and that's because my healers never kill them. Right? Explosive is the healer's job, and if I have to shoot an explosive, it messes up my rotation. I have to spend focus, and it's just not fun, right? It's just not fun.
For certain roles and nightmarish for others, so players spend a whole week clawing at each other's throats over. And
there's some weeks where I just like, okay, we want 2 melee because, you know, range isn't good, or vice versa. Like, we don't want fucking more than a 1 melee because, like, look at this. Look at this.
Pointless wipes whenever quaking comes at the worst possible time, and anything except pixel perfect positioning is a bricked key and half an hour wasted. Our goal
hey, that's every stream. That's every stream. How do you know? Does he tune into the stream? Every stream is like usually starts with that.
Bottom of things.
And that's always my key.
Exist? Are they slowly killing Mythic Plus? Can Blizzard fix them? How? Is there a shining, magnificent future in which we all love running dungeons and people are not anxious wrecks? Let's find out together after a word from our sponsor.
Nord, right. So, you know phishing attacks, that's where scammers try to dupe you into compromising your own security.
Talking about like actual
like
phishing.
A fake email, a fake link. Well, Nord,
you know, when you put your fishing pole into the lake and then the fish, they realize it and then they all group up and they just start attacking you.
So much more. On my creator link, nordvpn.com.
NordVPN. You know who has the best NordVPN ads?
And to celebrate
Internet historian.
There'll actually be an additional gift.
Yeah, like his ads are the best. Like, I actually like look forward to his ads.
Now, Nord, of course, being a VPN, lets you browse the web as if you are anywhere, and that lets you do a lot of useful things. I regularly use Nord to access region-restricted content on the hellscape that is the internet.
I'm surprised like Netflix doesn't do. I guess they can't really
talked about in the past. They can
control that, right?
Get out of like price gouging, problems like that, and also protect you against threats.
I do think, because, you know, the Asian servers are down, right?
That's when somebody,
like China servers are down, and wow, didn't they just use a VPN?
Plus a whole bunch more. They've got other great features like
and like play on like a. I mean, the ping would probably be awful, right?
They will then alert you if your credentials.
Ping would probably be terrible, but they could do that technically.
Will allow you to change your credentials and stay safe. They make security convenient and easy with their app and their browser extension on all major platforms. My creator link, nordvpn.com/bellular gaming, is where you will find 1 month free. Plus, to celebrate their 11th birthday, there is an additional gift of extra subscription time.
Bonus
Just click
gift.
my link down below.
We're going to have to engage with the actual reason they exist. And it's not just to kill you, it's also to overload you and frustrate you. But seriously, it is supposed to add a spice to the dungeon, changing up your gameplay each week. Quaking discourages stacking, so you can't rely on the same usual strategies. Sanguine gives tanks a mob placement headache. Explosive is a mini-game that can be optimized with instant single-target cast, especially from a healer. Spiteful gives everyone a fun opportunity to use their CC to keep those nasty ghosts away.
Spiteful's kind of annoying too.
Are both there to change the damage profile for the healer to answer with their tools, or just make disc.
I don't gotta worry about that.
Cliff, while Storming and Volcanic are there to give melee and range some bonus dodging to do. Now, does anyone actually feel that way though? You see, most of these affixes are better described as some bullshit. It's a bit like being slapped every morning, and each week your personal
I don't know.
slapper changes which
That's just
cheek
like
they
one way to
aim
look
for.
at it, though. You know? Yeah, some are just straight up annoying, but like from Blizzard's perspective, how like what are they designed to make it harder? Like I think they're all add difficulty to the dungeon, which is what Mythic Plus is supposed to be. But yeah, I do agree that most of them are not fun, but I don't think it's like completely bad, you
And
know?
puts on a different type of glove.
Like every
Keeps
affix isn't
things
bad.
fresh, but you're still getting slapped. And maybe you don't like that. Without it, though, Blizzard would think that your morning, or in this case your dungeons, would just be too easy, too simple, too boring.
Yeah.
Lots of
That's what Mythic Plus is about. I don't know why he's mad. Like it's supposed to be harder. If you don't like it, do like, and it's not even hard. Like once you do what? If you do like a +2, it's just one affix, right? So that's pretty easy. +5, I think it's 2. And I think, I'm not sure the levels, but I know once you get to +10, you gotta have all 4, right? So I agree that a lot of them suck, but I don't think it's completely like bullshit, like you said. Like some weeks, the combination of them are completely bullshit, right? If you get like Quaking and Sanguine or something where like the overlap is really just awkward to play the dungeon, like for the tank to pull, that sucks and that's not fun. But on their individual own, I think the only one I really don't like is Explosive, just because I don't get into groups that kill them. Like my healers never really kill them, so I don't know. That's my take on it though. But then again, I haven't played WoW in a long time, so I'm just getting back into it. If you've been doing this for years, it might be getting pretty stale.
high-end players and dedicated Mythic Plusers also feel that way, but to be honest with you, I've been looking at a lot of what the pro players
Well, that's what healing is actually exhausting this week. It's Wednesday and I'm already beat. Yeah, dude, that's why I don't play healer. I feel like with Explosive though, if I was playing healer, I would just do like a macro. Like I don't think it'd be too crazy. Unless the only thing that sucks about healing or about Explosive is like when you pull big, then you get like 5 spawn at the same time. That's when that would be really stressful. Because then you gotta heal your party, you gotta heal your tank who's getting hit by like 5 mobs, and if it's like fortified, you have to heal him. Your melee trads aren't gonna get off because you know they need to pump. And then me as a hunter, I don't do it unless it's on the way back because I gotta pump too. Shit. What does Nagura say? Seen a lot of people saying they dislike the current affix rotations, even though I don't share the same opinion. I wonder if they could try to rework some affixes into purely positive ones. So she doesn't mind them. I am low-key losing my desire to play WoW, and I think it's because of how hellish the affix combinations have been so far for healers. Yeah, healing sucks. I don't play healer. I really like Tyrannical. Tyrannical Week's my favorite. It's just healers complaining and bitching, bro. But there are weeks I do like 2 Mythic Plus or 4 Mythic Plus, get my 2 my Vault ones. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to do any more because what was it, like a week or 2 ago? I think it was last Fortified week. I forget what the combination was, but I literally like half of my dungeons failed within the first pull. And I don't think it was too much of the affixes because each week I think is doable. Some are obviously harder than others, but it's players, dude. Pug life.
saying, some of the more higher end people, and it seems like discontent with affixes is only growing right now.
Healer. So it's only the healers complaining.
That means we have an opportunity. The important part, though, is what we do all, I think, agree on, and that is that affixes need some serious loving.
That's
it's easy to see players complain
get
about
good, dude.
affixes and come to a fair conclusion. Players don't want resistance. They want to hold W, smash a few buttons, and get some gear. That's sort of fair. Maybe that's why LFR exists. Maybe that's why world bosses exist, some of that easy world content. Maybe that's why back in the days of Warlords of Draenor, there was a massive community outrage over the silver proving ground requirement for heroics, which honestly baffled me then and baffles me still. But yeah, some players
I forgot about
good,
the proving
and
grounds.
they do not want to get good. That's their choice. And that's why the debate
Then
is
don't
not
do
about
high keys. Do like a 2 or a 5. And then call it a day and just realize that if you don't want to get good, you're not going to get the good gear.
making the game any easier. Hard is not a problem. It's the reason why.
And if you don't want to get the good gear, then you don't need good gear to do the easy content, you know? And if you're not good, you're not going to be like using that gear anyway. If you're doing like 30k DPS at 400 eye level, you know?
It is hard.
You're not going to be able to do hard content anyway unless you get carried.
Most affixes are actually easy to handle by themselves. Just move a bit. Just stop casting. Just mouse over the explosive ball.
Yeah.
The question we're trying to ask though is, does having to
I'm kind of on the get good side so far.
any of that actually add to the game? I mean, it makes it harder, sure, and that's obviously the goal, but is it more fun? I don't think so.
Depends on the week.
And I've got some reasons why. Number 1, you're already trying to complete a hard dungeon with a tight timer. Do you really need a layer of fun?
The dungeon is hard enough already. You see, there's not enough context here. How long have these dungeons been out for? A few months now? The dungeons as Mythic Zeros are not hard. Like, the regular mechanics of this dungeon, people, if you've been playing even casually, you should know each dungeon by now. Most of the mechanics, I say. Even on this boss, dodge the balls, right? Kill the ad. That's about it, right? I don't think they're too hard already.
Fun on top of that. There's no worse feeling than doing a fight perfectly, putting out all the damage and healing you can, only for an affix to cause a wipe and throw the whole thing off. I mean, sure, technically that's a skill issue, but to the player it feels external. The dungeon itself didn't cause the problem, no, the layer of nonsense on top of the dungeon did. That might...
He's playing a healer. He's playing a healer. Everyone in that post right here, all healers complaining. Dude, healers just need to get good, man.
That might seem petty, but that's how players actually feel, and that's why it's just something that's stupidly important. Here's the key. People will call a good game hard. They will call a bad game bullshit. What matters is how the hard is achieved. Number 2, they make Mythic Plus way more complicated to learn, and that is an existential problem. A weekly rotation of things that will just come out of nowhere and wipe you. That might seem manageable if you're used to it and doing it every week, but try to imagine being new to World of Warcraft.
If you're new to World of Warcraft, I feel like you're not going to be jumping into plus 15s or plus even 10s. You're probably going to start with Mythic Zeros or like Mythic 2s or 3s. And then if you've probably already done these dungeons on Heroic and on Normal, leveling up and just, you know, doing Dungeon Finder, because you're not going to, if you're a new player, you're not going to be, you know, just starting Mythic Zero as soon as you hit level 70. I see tons of threads and comments talking about the elitist attitudes people have in Mythic Plus and the toxicity they experience. In the last few days of gearing and pushing IO on my Paladin and Warrior alts, I have to say the actual toxic part of the community is going into a Court of Stars 15 and DPS dying to first boss, and then saying, I didn't know I had to jump. That's understandable. Actually, I actually do agree with this, because if a casual player, like, there is a weak aura package I have that's Mythic Plus, and it's from Seasons 2. And it carries me. It yells at me exactly what to do. And without knowing that, I would be dying on everything, because each dungeon, I feel like, has so many small little things. Like, each pack has like a different thing you need to interrupt. Again, my weak auras say, oh, what I should interrupt. They tell me when to interrupt. They tell me when to line of sight on Temple of the Jade. They tell me to interrupt the fear on Temple of the Jade on the later trash mobs. Each like dungeon has a lot of little things that if you don't get it or don't understand, especially when you hit this Court of Stars 15, if you don't jump, you're just gonna die. So I do actually kind of agree with this. There is a lot to learn in Mythic Plus, but that's kind of part of the fun of it, I'd have to say, you know? And you'll learn this over time. But then again, if you're casual, maybe you don't pick up on that. Maybe no one tells you had to jump, you know? And then over here, if they wipe, okay, maybe they learn from this mistake, you know? It's about learning from your mistakes, really. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I think the people that refuse to watch guides or read material outside of the game and then just go into Mythic Plus or Heroic raids are the most toxic part of the community. I can deal with messing up and getting called a dog. What makes Mythic Plus feel terrible for me is the amount of people who just put no effort into the game and waste the time for the people. Yeah, well, at that point, you just need to recruit better people, or just like look at what kind of group you're joining. I know it sucks, but like, it actually must be really awful for a casual, because if you have a high IO, you can kind of like pick and choose, but If you're just playing casually, I bet it's even worse than what I go through in pugs. But I'd have to say every level of key pugging is just awful. Yeah.
There is no way to practice, and every time you fail, you might be the reason why a group disbands and everyone's time is wasted. It's no wonder that World of Warcraft is plagued with people too anxious to actually play the content they're interested in. Between community issues, a lack of in-game tutorialization, and a timer adding instant stakes, getting into Mythic Plus for the first time is just a series of mountains to climb. WoW, now more than ever, needs to destroy those barriers to entry. The sales figures of Dragonflight only prove that.
I don't know. I feel like Mythic Plus is great as it is. It's such a popular thing. I don't think they should like cater to casual players too much. You know, they already have low level keys, which are pretty easy. Like if you're semi-geared, which if you're a casual player and you've been playing since Dragonflight launch, you're probably pretty geared. You're probably like around 400 eye level, just from like doing Raid Finder, doing your Vol and everything. You know, if you don't want to do plus, like on a plus like 10 or a plus 8, if you don't jump in Court of Stars, yeah, you might die, but yeah, you also might not die because you're just so geared and your healer's geared and everything.
The affixes are
they just need to add more content, different end game content, in my opinion.
Blankets laid over the whole dungeon, which results in the, well, I'd say the game design equivalent of a cheap paint job done by your landlord.
Oh shit!
Sure, we all know what that feels
no!
like. You know, something like quaking is perfectly fine here, but it's a lot less fine here. Blizzard are totally aware of this because they've made quaking
that makes it hard though
during Inhale in Shadowmoon Burial Grounds, which is a forced stack mechanic. But it still happens when stacking isn't required but is optimal, like when turning corners to line of sight mechanics in Temple or Court. To avoid this, Blizzard would have to spend weeks hotfixing in exceptions, like with Inhale, or just stop putting those mechanics in dungeons in the first place. Now, I don't know
hey,
about
Wes Gross, good morning.
I'd rather have a more interesting dungeon than one that is intentionally neutered so that affixes can exist, of all things. Shoutouts to the unmovable, interruptible chain-casting mobs that heal to full in Sanguine, because that's just great.
Oh.
Point 4. As Tattles pointed out in his recent video about affixes, the kicker is they're targeted at specific roles, and mostly healers. Explosive, Bursting, and Grievous
I can see it's mostly healers that are complaining.
While Sanguine and the now god Necrotic actively ruin tanks' entire weeks, and Storming and Quaking are just exercises in frustration for the DPS. The emotional experience is, damn, this week's gonna suck for me. And the week after that may be, oh hey, this week doesn't suck as much.
Yeah.
It would probably be better if we were all excited to play instead of just not.
Honestly, he's got a point. Every time I log in to on Tuesday, I'm like, I want to push my IO this week, but do I really? Let me check the affixes. Like yesterday, I was so happy that the affixes aren't bad this week. Oh yeah, I played with Tupac yesterday. He was playing the Feral Druid. That guy was pumping. I knew he wasn't dead. I knew he was just somewhere, you know, on a remote island just playing WoW all day. We also had Taiga Style, part of Wu-Tang in the group. Bunch of rappers.
Pissed off at best.
Bunch of gamer rappers.
It definitely impacts balance. They make the game hard, but they make it differently.
That's funny though.
In different dungeons, and then also in different combinations every week. And that
it bricked immediately. The healer went AFK before the first pull. Nice. Now that's the Mythic Plus experience I'm talking about. That's what they need to fix. That's what they need to fix. Okay, half of the shit that's wrong with Mythic Plus is people leaving after like one mistake. Now I understand at a high key, if you're doing a Zero Vault, like if you leave after one wipe, that's kind of understandable because you're just not going to be able to time the key. And if you want to just say, you know, get through it, you have to put that kind of in your comments, right? But for low level keys, for just making one mistake where the key, you have more than enough time, but people are just like, you know, they just rage and they rage quit. That's just like not fun. And that happens a lot. So that's something they have to do. But again, like I said, it's hard because like the higher keys, even if you wipe, even like an academy, if you wipe a bunch of the tree boss on a high key, that the key's done. The key's bricked. You know, if you leave, I understand. You know, just move on. You know, mistakes were made. It's kind of GG at that point. It's like when you play League of Legends, in your top lane's 0 and 10 at 5 minutes because he's playing Garen and all he knows how to do is int and run it down. FF and F15, especially at high elo, is, you know, that's just acceptable at that point. I'm hitting yes. So I feel like in Mythic Plus, maybe they should add a surrender vote where, okay, do you guys want to surrender? If it could be like League of Legends. If 4 out of 5 people say yes, they want to, you know, forfeit the key. Maybe they could do that. I don't know. They gotta do something though, because it is very toxic. I have to say. I think the most toxic out of all my game time in this expansion has been from Mythic Plus.
That is an absolute nightmare for Blizzard to get numbers right. And in a world where it takes Blizzard half a season of constant hotfixes to rebalance dungeons, they should probably start simple and work up. To be clear, balance isn't the ultimate goal, fun is more important, but balance issues in WoW usually cause frustration instead of unintended joy.
Yeah,
Though it's worth remembering,
I agree. This is so unbalanced this season.
Are created equal. The seasonal affix is a different story altogether and clearly better. Thundering is a kiss curse, right?
I like Thundering. At first, I didn't really like it, but after playing with it for a few months, I think it's really fun because it's like a double-edged sword, right? If you do it well, it's a benefit to you because you get that DPS bonus. But you also need to know when to cleanse off that debuff, because if there's a mechanic coming out, or you need to spread out, and you have like a few seconds left, and as you've seen, if you've seen me play, I might have bricked a 19 Halls of Valor the other day, because I didn't stack with somebody, the healer, and then he died. But I have to say, if it's the icons on top are poorly designed. If you don't have the weak ore that shouts the X or the square, which in this case the healer didn't have the weak ore package, I couldn't see what was going on. I don't know. It's so hard to see. It's like they're the same kind of color. It's very translucent, like silvery, or transparent, whatever. It's hard to see who to stack with. Like, look at everything that's going on. Is Thundering out right now? No. But like, if Thundering was out right now, I couldn't see. If no one had the weak ore, I wouldn't be able to tell who the hell has what. So I feel like the weak ore is required, and if a weak ore is required for a mechanic in your game, for people to succeed, then I don't think it's a good mechanic. You know, I don't think it's a good mechanic at that point, or a good design. You don't see the sun too often if people aren't paying attention, but the buff isn't that great for the punishment it gives. Yeah, what's it, like 30% damage? If you don't have the weak aura, it's so hard to tell. And like, I feel like a lot of people don't have the weak aura, or maybe they have a different weak aura. Usually there's like, I think most people have it, but like 3 or 4 out of 5 people have it. But if one person doesn't have it, it's still hard. So I wish they would change the design, maybe make it more vibrant of a color, or change it up somehow, because it is hard to see.
It means that you get a bonus for doing it correctly and a punishment for doing it wrong. Wait till the last
Okay, hold on, let's go back a little bit here.
Doing it correctly and a punishment for doing it wrong.
Okay, weak aura, he has weak aura. He has a negative one.
Wait till
which that like, even like if people have different weak auras, it also makes it weird. If I saw this, I'd be like, what the hell does that mean? I forget it's positive, negative. I just think in my brain, X go over square, you know? And I guess square is positive, right? Same thing on like Razageth. So he's got the weak aura, he's got the weak aura.
the last second.
Everyone has a weak aura in this group. Okay. Can you imagine if no one had it? How hard it would be?
And you'll get a lot of extra damage.
Oh, now he has
the
the X.
But potentially risk punishment of that potentially fatal stun if you mistime it. You can also clear it instantly, very easily, to take no risks, but you do lose the reward. It's simple yet effective, and I would also say one that in a world where you can also get quaking and storming and all those other things feels particularly bad. But Thundering on its own would probably feel fine if it wasn't for all those other affixes. We've then got Awakened, the last affix of BFA. That owned. It put extra stuff in dungeons that allow players to stealth through sections.
I didn't do BFA. I don't know this one.
Kill mini-bosses in different orders.
They got rid of this, huh?
Fight them all at once at the end for a risky but
was this one fun?
Rewarding play. Seasonal affixes change up the dungeon itself in a way that is more designed and does not interfere with existing mechanics.
The only one I did was at the start of Shadowlands. The one where after like a certain threshold on the percentage of each run, you a big mob spawned and it did a lot of AoE damage and it shut out these orbs. that like stunned you, and if once you killed it, you get like a minute big buff. But I think the problem with, I mean, I don't think it was a problem. It was really unique actually, but it was harder on the tank because you had to pull in a certain way so you would hit that percentage on a good time. Like you wanted to pull usually get that, like that was a 25% or something right before the boss if you can, or like a big pull, because then you could really like maximize the buff. If you're doing like if you're like a bad tank that doesn't have a good route and you get awkward timings on that buff and you don't use it right, it kind of just felt bad. Prideful, yep. I like using square for tank markers because it's the biggest needs to use. Oh, we try to keep clear with them, yeah. The obelisk. I don't really play BFA at all, so I don't know about the BFA ones, but I like Prideful, but I think that was harder on the tanks for sure. Whereas I think this one actually is really hard on healers. Like after this video, I understand now.
Doesn't change week to week, that sometimes provides new enemies and has a strong risk-reward component. In other words, they're really good. These can stay. Fortified and Tyrannical, those are exceptions, but I think they're a conversation for another day. For now, they get to live because we have bigger fish to fry.
Okay. Let's see what he says.
So what is
possible solutions? What could they do? Honestly, I'm not a game designer. I think it would be really difficult. Maybe they could. There are a lot of swirlies that I know I've realized. Playing Marksmanship Hunter, I have to cast my aim shot, right? So I have to stand still for like 2 seconds to cast my aim shot. And Naku Defensive, that first trash packs, you get the arrows, you get those swirlies. Then you get the thundering swirlies. Then if you get tornadoes, you can't stand. And if you have Volcano, you can't stand still. Now, it is so hard to play like a caster, I feel like. If you are playing a caster, some of these dungeons and these affixes are just straight up, you can't play the game. At least, especially like high level keys, it is so hard to get your rotation down because you have to move so much. It depends on the dungeon, but some of them are just like not fun. Like last boss, Naku Defensive, it sucks, man. I want to play BM on Naku Defensive just because like, I can move around and do my rotation. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they could do for solutions here. Yeah, let's see what he says.
Solution. Okay, it's simple. As many have suggested, most recently I think I saw Nagura.
Positive affixes.
Make affixes positive only, right? Remove the punishment for failure, because not being rewarded is punishment enough. When you
they could give you positive affixes that gives you buffs, and then they could just like increase the threshold of. They don't even have to actually. They actually wouldn't have to do that because they already have that. Like the increase, I'm thinking like the increased damage and health, but they already have that. So instead of like a 24 being like really high key or a 23 or something, if you do the positive affixes correctly, then maybe up to a 30 is like now like the highest cap, right? Because you just get all these buffs or something from doing affixes. That'd be cool actually. So it only rewards you, and then it doesn't penalize you if you mess up. That's actually really smart.
You are dealing with a dungeon system that is balanced around infinitely scaling difficulty and a time trial.
Exactly, it's scaling infinitely.
I mean, not being needlessly punitive is how the rest of Dragonflight has been designed, so why not affixes? Why are we stuck with a relic of a design era like BFA and Shadowlands that did not work? Examples of this.
It would be cool if like you know, like in Diablo 3, like when you kill mobs, like health globes spawn. Maybe if you killed mobs in Mythic Plus, health globes would spawn, and they would give you maybe some healing, so that would like ease up the job on healers a little bit. Like the tanks could pick up them, or whoever was low, and then the healers could like do more damage, or you could just do higher keys because you had more healing. Like that'd be cool.
This could be explosive, doing nothing if it goes off, but maybe killing it causes a burst of mana regeneration or healing, so it becomes a resource to grab. And the challenge is, can you grab the resource? Imagine if Sanguine dropped a ring around the mob instead of a pull under it, and repositioning into the ring gave a damage buff to players, or extra damage taken to the mob. If quaking instead of interrupting you when you failed would perhaps be that if you stopped casting.
Wait, does quaking interrupt you? If you're casting as a caster and quaking goes off, does that interrupt you?
Then when it goes off, your next 3 cast time spells are instant. Wouldn't that be
That
fun?
would feel awful.
That way, you would still have extra tasks and
Oh my god. Okay. I did not know that. I did not know that. That sucks. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. Maybe I don't want to live with my Shadow Priest now. That sounds awful.
mechanics like you do right now. You would still have that variation and repeatability.
Okay, now I know why all the healers are complaining. First off, healing is the hardest role. I did not know quaking interrupts you. Was Sanguine and the debuff, whatever one that gives you the debuff, that one just is hard. What's it called? Fortified is a lot of damage. That's just really hard. Now I know. I feel like lately all my keys have been bricked because a healer gets hit by a mechanic. Although some of them is not forgivable because they make the same mistake like 3 times in a row, or they decide to some dumb shit that's easy to dodge on like easy boss pulls on Fortified. But I feel like healers. Oh, Grievous. Yeah, Grievous sucks. I feel like healers is the hardest role, right? So I kind of understand why maybe a healer dies now and then, or a healer messes up, and especially Mythic Plus. So I'm never like really too hard on healers, but it is annoying when they like make the same mistake. Like I had a healer the other day on Temple of the Jade Serpent, the 3rd boss. He died to the first wave, and then he was kind of, it wasn't dead, but that was like a first wipe. But then we came back after like 3 waves. Then he died to the wave again, and the wave's pretty easy to dodge. So that was annoying, but yeah, I understand now. This video actually is really eye-opening for me. This is a good video.
But it wouldn't be so darn frustrating. Instead of thinking, oh, how am I going to be screwed over this week? You'd be thinking, what are the cool optimizations I could do this week to go harder? That is fundamentally more exciting for a player. This would also add something new. The ability to ignore these affixes if you are overwhelmed. And that helps to solve the learning issue for new players. You can just warm up to them over time. And this approach should be Blizzard's speciality. After all, World of Warcraft, from its very beginning, was the friendly MMO. It's the one that had resident experience. And in
Wait, what did it have? Resident experience? What do you say?
friendly MMO, it's the one that had resident experience.
I don't know what it means.
Instead of in other games where if you died, you lost XP, that didn't happen
Oh,
in World of Warcraft.
okay.
Originally, they're going to make it so you
rest experience.
actually
Okay.
would get XP slower if you ground out too hard. Then they realized, hang on, we're more open.
I honestly, like, I kind of want to play hardcore classic WoW because the leveling in classic, it's so long and I hate leveling, but the leveling in classic WoW is just so rewarding. You explore, you don't get a mount forever. You have to explore all these different areas of the game. The music is fantastic. It's kind of slow paced, but it's also like the progression is great. It's kind of like Path of Exile. Like you can like, kind of like feel yourself getting stronger each level with the talent points. If you get a blue piece of gear, it's like getting like a freaking Razageth bow. You know, there's like chests around. Resources are limited, and I feel like having limited resources makes the game just more fun because it's just a challenge, you know. So like I hate leveling, but I absolutely enjoyed, like, retail leveling sucks, but I absolutely love classic leveling. It's really enjoyable. I leveled in 1 to 15 classic as Holy Priest hardcore. How did you play with anybody, or did you play solo? Like, how did you kill the mobs? You just had a smite and like use your wand and stuff?
Fun MMO, that's not what we do. A lot of these things, they're similar, but by making the positive, rewarding version, it feels so much more different. And it's the sort of thing that in hindsight is so goddamn obvious. I think it would be the same thing here. It would take some work, but it would be a hell of a lot more fun. All the same affix gameplay is there, just instead of being worried about an annoying random punishment, you are thinking, hell yeah, how can I go hard?
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
And this is a risky one, but there could be a payoff, and that is kill it. Kill it all. Cut it down to just fortified, tyrannical, plus 1 seasonal affix, and balance the dungeons around that.
I don't think that'd be good. Because then, it would get boring, I think. Because I think each different week makes it more entertaining, makes it the gameplay loop more fun. It adds more replayability to the dungeons. Like, as someone who does Mythic Plus, I don't enjoy Mythic Plus as nearly as much as I like raiding. But, like, just having Fortified, it would just get so repetitive. Having Fortified and just Tyrannical, like, it would just get so boring.
Dragonflight Dungeons show that
The dungeons, the advocates, while a lot of them are lame, they do change up the play style of each week, which I think is important.
designers are itching to make more challenging and interesting content. I mean, just look at the
Oh,
mechanical
hit a click the one
density
each
of the
time.
new dungeons compared
We
to
had a
the
healer
older
for the guild
ones.
out. Okay.
The thing is, though, Affix has ruined that. The designers are building cathedrals, and affixes are just painting graffiti all over.
I hate this boss. On high keys, this boss does so much damage. I like when he stomps. If I'm a top off or have like a big cooldown, I'm just dead.
Them. Looking at some of the most replayable and beloved games proves one principle is always worth striving for, and that is easy to learn, hard to master. If
Yeah.
next expansion we didn't have these affixes, they would have room to create even better fights, ones that stand the test of time and are always fun. An expression I once heard on design is that fear knows no love, meaning if you're afraid of your players getting bored and leaving, you will design defensively and you will make things like weekly affixes or
Daily quests, unlimited artifact power, and artificial systems that make the player have to log in to be competitive, to get more powerful. The Maw, Torghast, weekly requirements, and having like dozens of them that just make the player log in every day, make it a job. If you want a Mythic raid, hey, guess what you gotta do? You gotta do the Maw, you gotta do world quests, you gotta do a Torghast every week, you gotta do these new gems that came out, you gotta do that crap, you gotta do your conduits, you gotta do your renown. Love it.
Perhaps tie
So fun.
Torghast into legendaries because
they learned from their mistakes after how many expansions? And the Dragonflight is, I mean, I'm still playing Dragonflight. That's saying something.
Afraid players won't do Torghast. You know, instead of just making banging content and trusting that your players logged into World of Warcraft, the video game that they subscribe to actually have fun. To use psychological terms to prove we're not just making this shit up, check this out. It's the module
psychology. Oh shit, let's do it. At this point for me, I just love all the races classes for fun and do LFR with a mix of beaches here and there. And I think that's totally like the average player, Queasy. Like I think that's just popular, you know? Like I know a lot of players like to play stuff when the new patch comes out. They try out the new content, new quests, maybe do the new dungeons. Especially when expansion comes out, they'll like get to the max level, do dungeons, get all the Dragonflying glyphs, maybe do the raid a few times. Do Mythic Plus for a few weeks, and then, you know, okay, maybe this game came with a new patch. I'm going to play this game. I feel like nowadays, more than ever, players play multiple games. Like, back in the day, I feel like when World of Warcraft was huge, I feel like there were so many people that exclusively only played WoW. And I feel like there are still a lot of people that literally just only play WoW. It's a subscription service. If you like the game, there is so much replayability options with, you know, how many specs are there? Like 30 different specs, more than 30 specs. There's so many different specs you can try out. Each is unique. You can tank, heal, range, DPS, you know, a lot of different characters. So a lot of people still only play WoW, but I think nowadays a lot of players that play WoW also play other games, just because there's so many free-to-play games out there where back in the day there wasn't. Games are just like subscription-based games, or not subscription. There's like games that come out with like regular updates, like Battle Royales, like League of Legends, all these MOBAs, Valorant, shooters, games. They always have like regular content updates. Like look at Apex Legends. Apex Legends has like a new big patch like every like 2 months. It's crazy. What's your number 2 game after WoW? I'm one of those people. I play League of Legends, I play Apex Legends, I play Path of Exile, Diablo 3, World of Warcraft, I played Final Fantasy 14. I play Elden Ring, you know. There's so many games. Forza, like there's so many games I like to play. I like pretty much every genre except like RTS and fighting games. So like playing just World of Warcraft is not something I usually do. Like I play a lot of games off stream. I would stream Apex Legends, but my computer just cannot handle it. And League of Legends, I get toxic. League of Legends is just toxic. Like streaming League of Legends is just not fun. Everyone just comes to the chat after and just like, you know, it's just toxic. So I don't really stream League anymore. But yeah, so I feel like just playing WoW, like if they just cater for people that just like log in all the time and create all these artificial systems that are required for you to progress your character, like we saw that with Shadowlands, like everyone just left. Everyone literally just left. Okay, let's look at this graph here. So perceived skill level is high, and then challenge level is high and low. Okay. So we do high and high. You get the flow. That's kind of true. I feel like you see the flow when you do MDI. When you watch MDI, when you get both of these, challenge and perceived skill level, like both are really high. Like most of the time, it's like the flow. You know, they're so consistent with their cooldowns, their pulls, and everything. You see the flow of MDI Dungeon. They're doing like plus 22 Valor in like fucking 15 minutes. It's crazy. And then if we see, let's see, if we go low to low, apathy, worry, oh no. Okay, let's go to low. So low skill level and high challenge, anxiety. It's just like when you're just playing the game and your friend invites you to like a 15 or something, and you're just like, you've never done a 15. Yeah, that would be anxiety inducing. I would get anxiety if I didn't know a lot of these mechanics. That's why every time I go into a raid, I gotta know everything, because I don't want to be the guy who, you know, wipes the raid from a simple mechanic that I just didn't know about. And if you get like mid skill level, mid challenge, worry or control, look at like you can go either way here. So
flow, that feeling that you get when you're really lost in a game or a task. A well-crafted game keeps players on the right-hand side, and an unbalanced one has them on the left.
Okay.
Letting players master their classes, and balanced one has them.
Relaxing control. Yeah, I feel like relaxation isn't. I guess it depends on the game. If you're really good, yeah. Actually, no, that makes sense, because if the challenge is low and you're good at the game, you're gonna be relaxed, right? Control, flow. This is a good graph.
On the left, letting players master their classes and the dungeon by removing the needless shit on top, but having really amazing solid core design that will help them turn their own apathy into relaxation, or their own anxiety into flow. Blizzard can pick either of these routes, or even come up with a third. Internally, they're almost certainly already coming up with solutions and investigating what needs done. So hopefully the ideas presented today will help them.
Yeah.
And my question
to you this was a good video. I really enjoyed this video. I went in pretty ignorant, honestly. I did not know the affix interrupted you, quaking interrupted you. I did not know it sucked that bad for healers. So this was a great video. Definitely thumbs up that. GG, bellular, that was a good one. And I think his solution with having positive affixes, they should just try it. You know, I think that would be a great solution.